started the bat hospital in 1996 when my son found one at school. We found an injured one on the floor. He told a teacher. The teacher said put it in the hedge, and he came back home after school, told us he'd found this bat. We never believed him at all, but I gave him an ice cream tub with some kitchen paper in, and hey ho, went down to school, come back with a bat, and that's how it's all started. We researched it, tried to find out about the bat and what it ate and stuff like that. We knew nothing about it at all. We found this lady called Jill Green who was part of the bat group. She came here, looked at the bat after a few days and said, oh, it needs to go to somewhere else to be fixed because it had holes in the wings. Sorry, the bats are making noise in the background. Serotonin's for you. And we kind of joined the bat group, and that's how it all started, really. We didn't mean to do this. It's now completely taken over our lives. We're on call 24/7, all through the winter as well, because we still get bat calls in the winter. We have converted quite a lot of the house into bat aviaries, as hence you can see with this. Serotonins we've got down here. Upstairs, which was my son's bedroom, it's now converted to a bat room. We have lots of visitors as well. We have visitors from bat groups and anybody that's interested in bats. We never turn anybody away. If somebody's interested in bats, then we'll give them all the time in the world. Lots of phone calls, especially from around the world. Just had a man from Portugal on the phone, had found a bat, wanted to know what to do. I had a lady the other day from Canada that rang up and just wanted some help with the bats. So I will always give people time. We've probably rescued around 1,700 bats now through our time, and 70% of those have gone back to the wild, so it's quite a high percentage. Sometimes it might take a year for the bat to be fixed, wing membrane all completely ripped. Takes a long time to heal up sometimes. The bat will still go back to the wild. These carrying boxes we had made, and different people will do, you know, projects for us if we say, well, could you make us a few carrying boxes? Now these are really quite brilliant because obviously you've got your cloth at the back, you've got your paper there, and this is a Pringles top, and this is a sponge from Superdrug, and it's natural sponge. And what happens is we have these in the carrying boxes ready. Now, for example, Osborne House have a couple of these because we get quite a few calls from Osborne House. So what they do, they've got a bat, they soak this and it expands to the edge. That means the bat can have a drink before we get there, and it's obviously not going to drown, especially if it's a poorly bat or it's a juvenile baby. So they can have a drink until we get there, and then literally what we do, we take a new box, new sponge and water, and completely swap with them. So I take that box away, and then they have the new box. And the crematorium have one because they used to have a lot of bats. In actual fact, we had a call for about 12:20 lunchtime. Ian, who used to run the crematorium, said, Donna, how quick can you get here? And I said, why? He said, well, we've got a funeral at 1:45 and I've got 5 bats flying around in the chapel. But luckily my husband was only 10 minutes away, so he went and managed to scoop up the bats, because you can't really have bats flying around when there's a funeral going on. Doesn't quite seem the thing, does it? Right, so obviously this bat's just been brought in. All right, chappie, all right, I'm going to give you antibiotics. Good boy. Okay, now this is just one example of what cats do to bats. So this one's just literally been brought in, found on somebody's wall. That is that side, and obviously he's got blood in down his finger bone, so obviously he could have been knocking around for a little while like this. So that's not very good, that side. And on this side it's even worse. So that's what the cat's done. Now I wouldn't put this bat down because he's got a good chance of this repairing. Probably not good enough to go back to the wild, but as long as he can keep his arms and his thumbs, and he's got 2 limbs on the front and 2 limbs on the back, he's got a good chance of being okay. He'll probably be a captive, but hey ho, go in with the rest of the couple of dozen I got. Can I have some food, darling? You're hungry? Now this is what I find amazing, that this bat has never seen me before. It's literally been here for a few minutes. I've given it water, given it antibiotics, and now it's eating mealworms, which it's never seen before in its life. Quite amazing. And this is a young pipistrelle, so this is this year's young, so such a shame. We don't just run the bat hospital from our home, obviously. We also do lots of bat talks. And the reason we do bat talks is to get the awareness out there that if somebody finds a bat, they do not leave it. In the olden days, the RSPCA, Lee used to tell people to put the bat outside on a leaf or a twig or something. And of course, if the bat's injured, that's just going to starve to death. My husband probably carries out about 50 bat talks during the year, and I probably do about 30 to 40. He mainly does the ones in the evenings because he works full time, and I tend to do the ones during the day. Now, just for example, in 2012, on the 5th of December, I went to a school in Ryde, and I did Year 1 children, 2 classes in one go. Told them all about the bats. On the 12th of December, a little girl went home from school and her mum had found a bat on the floor, and the mum was going to put it outside. The little girl said, "No, I know exactly what to do because we've had the bat lady in." She said, "You've got to put it in a box, give it some water, and call the bat lady straight away." And when I went out there, the poor little thing had been tied up with cobwebs, and his foot was actually stuck to his chest, so he wouldn't have been able to fly. Anyway, the bat made a full recovery and did go back to the wild, but we decided to call the bat 36. Now, 36 is French for 36, because I picked up the bat on the 12th of the 12th of the 12th. So sometimes, because we're running out of names, we sometimes have to play around a little bit with ways to think of bats' names. But when we did release the bat in the people's garden, I think we did it in March time when the weather improved. The actual bat flew round a bit and then went into the next door's house, so that's obviously where he lived. So, but that's just one example. Get to the children and they will tell the parents what to do, because they probably won't forget. So they're really, really good.